Welcome, everyone, to the Real Whovians cast, episode 475. I am your host, Matrix Lord 212, and I'm with our new member, George. What's up, George?
Hello.
How are you? Welcome to the Real Whovians cast.
It's great to be on here. I've watched Real Whovians cast for a very long time.
Awesome. Okay, so I got some questions for you, as you know, being that it's your first episode. We want to get the viewers familiar with you in the Doctor Who community, if they're not already. So I want to ask you, one, what is your first episode that you've seen of Doctor Who, and when did you see it?
It was about late 2007, and I was going through channels on the TV, and I came across the Lazarus Experiment and watched the last 10 minutes of it. And then the very next week I watched 42, which was the next episode, and then after that I watched the rest of Series 3, and then I moved on to Series 4 the next year, and then I just became a fan by watching all the rest of the episodes.
Now, what did you think of Mark Gatiss as an actor in the Lazarus Experiment? Because he did acting. He did act in that, so.
I actually thought he was a good villain. I thought he was actually a really good actor as well.
I agree, man. He is a great actor. He's very versatile. Besides being in Sherlock as an actor and writer, he was also in Game of Thrones and stuff. So he's in a lot of different things. Now, so David Tennant was your first experience as a doctor, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, have you seen the Matt Smith era up until the present with Peter Capaldi?
Of Doctor Who. I watched Series 3 and 4, and then after that I went and I watched the rest.
Okay, so now who is your favorite Doctor of the new Who, since Dr. Compega?
I have to say it's probably David Tennant, but Peter Capaldi is actually not that far behind. I think Peter Capaldi's been a great Doctor this year as well.
Yes, I do agree. He is a great Doctor. Now, what is your favorite companion of New Who?
Whenever anyone asks me this, I always kind of, it's hard to answer, but I think I'm going to say Donna. I kind of like Donna.
Okay. What companion do you really could do without, like you really can't stand, or is there none?
I suppose it's really, like, half the people really like her and half people really don't like her, but I think it's going to be Rose.
Okay, so now you like Rose, or you don't like Rose? You're not.
I mean,
not sure, right?
I like Rose sometimes, but then sometimes she can also be kind of annoying and get in the way.
Okay. Now, judging from the villains that you've seen in all these seasons, which villain could you really want, like you really anticipate seeing, you really hope Series 9 they return? What's your favorite villain?
I kind of like the thing from Time Heist, the thing that could read people's minds. And
Okay, he's a cool villain. And yeah. What about like the Weeping Angels or the Daleks or the Cybermen?
I like pretty much every Doctor Who villain. Like I've been upset with a couple of episodes. I thought there could have been something better done with some, but I like most of the villains in Doctor Who.
Okay. Now, do you find as you watch more and more Doctor Who that you tend to really expect more? I mean, being that you've watched so many, do you find that you start like looking at the episodes differently, like why didn't they do this, why didn't they do that, or no?
Yeah, I was kind of upset with Deep Breath because I went to the cinema to see it, the theater, and I went to see it. I sat down, I got popcorn, all that stuff, and I put it on, and the cinema played it, and after like halfway through it, I got really bored of it. I didn't think it was the best episode.
Right. Now, I had, of course, read the scripts before that. Well, just mainly like two, but I skimmed through other ones. But I saw Deep Breath, and when I actually saw Deep Breath, I liked the episode, but I didn't feel it was the proper episode for a regeneration. Like after it was done, to me it was a little dark to introduce the 12th Doctor. And while I was happy with Madame Vastra, Jennings Drax, and Clara, I felt that it was a bad way to use the clockwork droids from, Madame de Pompadour and a Girl in the Fireplace, a different sister ship, the Marie Antoinette. So I wasn't really happy with the dark tone of it, and I did give it like an 8, but overall I think I liked Series 8. I just had a problem with them not being more connected. Now, do you like big story arcs where the episodes are really, there's a connection.
I do actually, but I think what my opinion is with Deep Breath is, like, I like the fact that it was an hour and 15 minutes, and I'm all for extra Doctor Who, but I think it would have definitely been a lot better if they had have just cut out to 45 minutes, and because I kind of felt that it was kind of too long. I only started enjoying the episode when the part where the Doctor and Clara were sitting down talking in the restaurant, and then they
Right.
found out that they were the clockwork droids.
Right. See, now I always am all for a long episode, as long as it's warranted. As long as you're going to do something with the episode where it's going to be a top episode. If you're going to do 60 minutes or more, the fans got to have like loved this episode. I mean, it's just, and I felt that they could have saved that for another episode. Now, what about, would you say, the conclusion with Death in Heaven? Were you happy with the finale?
I was actually, I first didn't like it. I watched it again. I thought I'll give it another chance. And again, I thought it was okay, but I was expecting a lot more. I gave it like a 7 out of 10. I was expecting a lot better, to be honest.
Now, I have yet to rate the episode, but I have watched it 3 times already. I'm going to watch it a total of 10. I'm going to try to watch it at least every night an episode, like another viewing of it. But I have noticed a lot of problems where every single finale had stuff in it that they used for Death in Heaven. Now, I don't know if you saw the podcast last night that we got interrupted, but there was, in Parting of the Ways, I don't know if you saw Series 1 of Doctor Who with the Ninth Doctor, did you?
Yeah.
Okay. There was a woman called Linda with a Y that he liked in the episode, and he said to her that, when all this is over, she was going to be a companion. And lo and behold, in Death in Heaven, the 12th Doctor, hints at Osgood becoming a companion. And they both die, okay? There also was the part where in Doomsday, there was a Genesis Arc, which was from Time Lord technology to imprison millions and millions of Daleks. Well, this was repeated in Death in Heaven, where St. Paul's Cathedral had Time Lord technology to house all the Cybermen and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There was also the part that was repeated where Rose woke up in the bed in Doomsday, and she hears the Doctor whispering to her, and then she runs to Bed Wolf Bay to say goodbye and I love you and all that stuff. So that was repeated with Clara, where it looked like I'm same bed almost, and Danny Pink is calling out to her.
Yeah, that was crazy. Even when I was watching that, I just said to my dad, who was watching it with me, I said, "Hey, Daddy, I think you're getting a bit familiar with Doomsday," because it was so obviously exactly like that.
Yes, and even the scene where she's talking to Danny Pink in the cemetery is sort of like Bad Wolf Bay, where the Doctor's talking to Rose, where I love you, and then the Doctor's about to say it, So, but besides those, there was other things. Like, I don't know if this is true, but I feel that Moffat has run out of ideas sometimes, and he watches his own episodes or episodes of New Who, and he takes bits and pieces from each episode and he makes a season out of it. Now, A Good Man Goes to War is considered a finale, even though it's a mid-season finale. And in that, the Doctor's the good man, and he goes to war with the, Madame Crevarian and, the headless monks and all that. And he doesn't question if he's a good man. He knows he's a good man. So, River was trying to get him to not go overboard, to be evil. And Missy, in Death in Heaven, was trying to tell the Doctor he is evil like her, and that's the way it is. Like he is, and he was questioning himself if is he a good man or not a good man.
Yeah.
So there was so many different. Hold on, I'm having a problem here. Give me a second, George. You could talk for a few minutes.
Okay, but I don't know if anyone agrees with this, but I think that when I look back at all of Russell T Davies' finales, I think they're quite good. But whenever I look back at any of Stephen Moffat's season finales, I didn't really enjoy a lot of them. I thought they could have been a bit better. I didn't really like the Pandorica opens as much. I didn't like the Big Bang. I didn't really like the Wedding River Song.
Okay.
I didn't like any of the other finales really.
Okay. So you really don't like, but do you see what I'm talking about where stuff was taken
Yeah,
from
absolutely,
these finales?
absolutely.
But you know what it is? It's not just one finale. It's every single freaking finale from New Who.
Did you
Every
like Russell T Davies finales though?
Well, I gotta say that I liked Parting of the Ways. I liked Doomsday. I loved the three-part finale,
Oh, I like that.
which is my favorite.
Yeah,
Um,
that's my favorite episode
I
of New
like
Who, I think.
Journey's End. I like that Journey's End. I also like End of Time. But
I
yes,
didn't like the Big Bang
I do like
though.
yes, I do like Russell T Davis is better, I believe. But also like my thing is this, like I can name any finale from New Who and show you what they put into Death in Heaven. Okay, and it's even in Bad Wolf was the connected with Parting of the Ways. In Bad Wolf episode in series 1, Rose gets terminated. It looks like she turns to dust, but she was really transmatted. So that's why my theory holds water that Osgood was transported with a transmat and only the dust is there with her glasses. Because I feel that Missy is using her intelligence to craft something against the doctor or whatever. She's going to try to use her as like a companion or helper, and try to use her as bait. That's what I think is going to happen with Osgood. At least I hope so. Now, Danny Pink, I feel, is going to come back. I
Yeah.
wasn't happy with the Brigadier thing at all.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I thought it was. I mean, it was okay. I kind of nearly cried, but then again, thinking back on it, it mightn't have been a good idea to do that.
Well, I got to tell you, I am trying to wreck my brain because with the notion that I have this memory that the doctor did salute the Brigadier. I don't know where I'm getting it from. I don't know what episode it is, but it's going to be pretty hard now to go back to every single friggin' episode ever with the Brigadier just to find it. But the only thing I think I can narrow it down is I believe that it was John Pertwee, the third Doctor, that saluted him, but I'm not sure. So now I'm going to have to go back, or I challenge anybody to just look for it and
Yeah,
then just
I
announce it.
I thought I remember a salute in the Three Doctors, but I'm not really sure.
Right. So I'm going to have to go back now and watch and see if that holds water. If that's the case, then Moffat just made that crap up about the Brigadier. Um,
Yeah,
so besides all these things, every single finale has something that was taken for Death in Heaven. And because of that, and because I'm all against copying off of things as a writer and everything, my rating is going to be very low for this episode when it does. I do like all the scenes with Missy. I felt that Missy's character is perfect. She's a great master. I'm not going to say she's the best master, but she is a great master, and I look forward to seeing her again. But I am very unhappy because there was no purpose to this episode. And the reason why that's the case is you don't have this whole thing with the dead becoming Cybermen and this whole army where how could you just, after get this army, you're bored and say, oh, yeah, okay, Doctor, I'm the master, but I'm going to be a servant instead of being the master, and I just want your friendship, so here's your army, thanks. Like, that made no friggin' sense. And I
yeah,
understand they're trying to say that the master wanted to be friends with the doctor. Baloney. The master would never hold the candle to anybody. The master, even if he was friends with the doctor, would not ever put anybody above himself or herself. So I don't believe that at all. And the master basically kicked the doctor's butt. I felt
yeah.
totally
But
schooled him.
I didn't really like the part with Danny and Clara. I just thought it was a bit weird, to be honest. I thought they could have ended it in a little bit more epic way. I didn't really like all the tears and the crying because I don't think we got to know Danny as well as some other characters. And personally, I wasn't anywhere near crying. I mean, like if they kept him around for another season, like maybe, but I don't think there was enough character storyline. Like he appeared in maybe 2 or 3 minutes in each episode. The Caretaker was the only episode really focused around him. And as far as I
And the
got Danny as
forest,
a
in the
character.
forest of the night too. That was that he was in that episode a little bit too, but
But Danny as a character just kind of annoyed me, to be honest.
right,
I mean, I didn't really like him, and I wasn't really that sad to see him go. But again, with Stephen Moffat, everyone comes back. So I think Osgood's going to come back. I think Danny's going to come back.
right,
And Kate Stewart's already come back. So
right.
I don't think anyone really is dead for good.
See, I feel that this was another example of the great intelligent mistake, and that being that the great intelligence was around during the Second Doctor era. Moffat tried to reintroduce him into Matt Smith's time as 11th Doctor. He hardly had him in it, and he didn't build him up enough where he could have had him appear every episode a couple seconds. And when it came to the finale, it fell flat with him being the villain. Now, the finale was good, but for all the people to be in the finale, the great intelligence was the threat, and people are like, who the hell is that? So it's like, from our perspective, if you watch the classic series, he lost twice. So why would you devote risking your whole life to kill the Doctor when he's saying, "Oh, you beat me hundreds and hundreds of times," and it's like, the viewer only seen him twice, But Danny Pink,
I've seen maybe 20. I've seen maybe 20 or 30 classic episodes, and I've seen all the series 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and I've seen all the Doctor Who specials for children in need and everything. And it's been my number one show for literally since 2008.
Excellent.
I've just been nothing but Doctor Who, so I'm crazy about it.
But it's just like Danny Pink, if he would have had more time to grow as a character, we would have felt more impacted with his death, I feel.
Yeah.
Now, another thing is people don't understand is Danny Pink, they had a funeral for him. They had a goodbye for him. They had erected a memorial. He died. They said their goodbyes, and then she called the doctor, or the doctor called her. But Danny Pink should not be in a morgue on a table. It should be done already. So
yeah.
Another thing is that his body is not going to decompose that fast like his face, where you can't even recognize his face. The only thing his difference is he should have the helmet over his face, but it shouldn't be where everything is just discolored and his body is all. I mean, yeah, he died, but he shouldn't be on the table. He should be in the ground, or he should be either cremated or in the ground. So that's where it makes no sense to me. That aspect. And again, the Nethersphere, that too. I don't understand how. I guess UNIT took the TARDIS out of wherever that was, right? So while they're in there and getting the TARDIS out, why aren't they getting the technology and taking the Nethersphere or whatever? I don't understand.
I mean, a lot of the time with Stephen Moffat, you don't know whether it's a plot hole or whether he's planning for that to happen.
Well, it's so much a plot hole because they're trying to take down Missy. So if they get the TARDIS and the Nethersphere or whatever that place was, wouldn't they look for the technology to defeat her? I would think so. So that's a big plot hole because how would they know where the TARDIS is with the Doctor being unconscious?
Yeah, you're right. You definitely have some good theories, but I think that the finale was actually quite disappointing. Now that you're pointing out all the faults, I'm actually realizing that you're pretty much right about all of it. It was it was very disappointing. The only thing I liked about it was some characters died. I was like, finally they get rid of some characters. It's all over now. Something exciting has happened. But knowing that they're probably going to come back anyway, it's just pointless.
Right. Now, also, another thing that wasn't promoted is, yes, Missy has a TARDIS because there is a scene where there are 2 red telephone booths next to each other. And there's no reason for that. The only reason that is because one is her TARDIS and one is a fake one. And also the red telephone booth appears in other episodes. So
there was a leaked image about that, but everyone thinks it's faked, but it could be real because I think at the premiere that they showed a couple of days before the episode aired, Stephen Moffat said there was a scene cut out somewhere in the middle of the episode that they couldn't keep in because they didn't want to spoil too much of the show or whatever. And they couldn't keep it in the finale. And then, of course, there was a picture leaked from, apparently it was from the BBC offices, with the red telephone box traveling through time.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm sure we'll see that because Moffat just spoiled it that Missy's definitely alive and returning. So another thing, too, is, my son pointed out, Joe, that the Doctor held Missy's device wrong. Okay,
Yeah, I
you have
noticed that as well.
and he basically teleported her out rather than kill her because and the way you could tell this is that you see her buttons glow before the Brigadier Cyberman zaps her. Okay,
Yeah, you
on
see a green light.
yeah, on her buttons like a reflection that she's beamed out. Also, the cyber blast would not vaporize anybody. They would just, if you see Nightmare and Silver, they didn't. I don't think they vaporized anybody. I think they just killed people. So it wasn't that strong of a ray to do that, unless of course she was in the middle of transmatting out, and just the dust vaporized because there's dust left in the air because of the energy.
I think what happened was she definitely got it out and escaped because I remember in Nightmare and Silver, it's either someone was shot and killed and their body was on the ground, or
Right.
shot and dust was on the ground. But I saw nothing, so she's gone.
The
I
dust
probably,
vaporized. That's the effect of the transmat
yeah.
because the Brigadier shot the dust. But Osgood's alive and she's alive. And I feel that Danny is still in the Nethersphere and Missy has the Nethersphere. So she's going to use Danny as hostage. Hey, I got Danny and all these people. Now, why? Another question I have is why save all these people and not use it as an army against a doctor? Where is the clockwork droid? Where is the woman from Into the Dalek? Where is the guy from Caretaker? Why were these people just not shown or used?
Yeah, I mean, there was a person in the trailer that was wearing a green jacket in a morgue, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this could be a secret character, or it could be someone important." And it turned out in the end that all it was the guy that worked at the morgue. It wasn't important at all.
Right. And if I can go back to other episodes of finales, in the Last of the Time Lords, the Master refuses to regenerate, and he says, "I win." And then in this one, Death in Heaven, the Doctor tells the Master, which is Missy, "You win." You know, these little stupid things add up to a lot. You have the Master, harvesting. Well, the humans were harvested to become robot killing machines in the form of the Toglophane. And in Death in Heaven, the humans are harvested to become the robot killing machines, the Cybermen. I mean, the either the dead humans or the whatever. You know what I'm saying? So there is so much that is taken from every single finale.
You see, what
That
Moffat thinks he's doing is he thinks he's taking little tiny bits that no one will notice and putting it into the finale. But when you take 30 or 40 of those,
see,
it's
I'm a
basically
nut when
just
it comes to
copying.
that. I'm a nut when it comes to that because I constantly watch Doctor Who, so
So do I.
I'll catch it and I'll be like, I wrote like 2 pages yesterday, and I didn't even finish, and I didn't even try hard. Going back to the episode Doomsday, you had the Void, which was a part of space that the Daleks traveled through to explore in the Null ship or the Void ship, whatever. In Death in Heaven, the Nethersphere is unknown type of place that they're in, right? Now, they also mention in Doomsday the alternate reality that those Cybermen came from. Well, in Death in Heaven, they mention the pocket universe that Gallifrey comes from, that they're in. And the time, the Master listens to the signal to search and find Gallifrey and bring them to Earth. Well, in this one, the Doctor gets coordinates from Missy to search for Gallifrey. So there is so many similarities and connections to the finales that I could actually say that this finale is made up of every single finale in Doctor Who of New Who from 2005 to present. And I could show every example from every show. Another example is Davros in Journey's End. Davros tells the Doctor that he is I don't remember his exact words, but he said he is worse than him. He is evil. He gets these people to be his companions and makes them soldiers to do stuff for him. Like he manipulates. He is hatred. He is evil. He names him. He's the destroyer. He's everything, right? Now,
Yeah.
Missy's telling that's what the Doctor is. She's repeating that. So all these finales, you really have to pay attention. All these finales have elements that is in death and heaven. And based on that theory that I created, I will conclude at the end of watching the episode 10 whole times. I will give my rating, and I will basically, it's going to be a low, low rating, only because we got a basic mesh of crap thrown together. Now, I also feel that the episode, we know that they were going through the season fast filming it. And my thought is that if they're going to do this crap next year, then take a little longer, because I don't want this to be ruined. I don't want to get a finale like this. I don't want the finale to be dark. I don't want the finale to be scary to kids.
Yeah, it should be family friendly. You know,
That
it's
is
gonna
not. I'm not going to have my. I'm not going to have a 5-year-old watch this and then start getting traumatized for the rest of his life, saying, you don't label this family entertainment when you have people coming out of the graves. You wouldn't let your kid watch Night of the Living Dead, so don't let them watch Doctor Who with that. And that's my biggest point, and that Doctor Who should no longer be called a family show because of these elements, unless, of course, they're going to change it. And I really feel there's no need to be dark with this. And you can't have it both ways. You can't have dark episodes, and then you have a class trip with Coal Hill School chilling in the TARDIS, and then you have something else. You can't have it both ways. You're either in this direct line of being cold and dark and whatever, or lighthearted or whatever. You can't have this because, it makes no sense when they do it like that.
I mean, you can have a good episode without it being dark.
Right, but this whole season got dark. And also, Listen was taken basically from Utopia and Midnight. Because the last planet left in the universe is the planet that's on Listen from Utopia. That the humans were becoming the Toglafane to go there, and that's where the darkness is. And that's what they told the Master of the Toglafane: the darkness is coming. You have to help us against the darkness. Well, that is the creatures that were on that planet in Listen. That is the far, and the Doctor forgot that he traveled there, which is another problem. Just because, I don't know if Moffat feels he's old. So he feels he's old, so he constantly makes the Doctor talk about being old. I'm sick of hearing that. I'm sick of hearing the 11th Doctor talking that he's old, old eyes. I just can't see it anymore, like he's a senior citizen. And now he's 2,000 years old, and the Doctor's constantly talking about being old. Well, if you're going to be old, be old. But then if you're going to start leaping out of an exploded plane and flying through a year into the TARDIS and doing all these stunts, then you're not old. So I think that
Dark Water stunned me with that. Don't cremate me. I mean, that's too far if 4 and 5-year-old children are watching this.
Absolutely gone too far. And Moffat tends to do these things, and I don't agree with it. And we could agree to disagree. Even in the Whovian community, people could agree to disagree with me, and that's fine. My only purpose with these videos is to enlighten everyone so they could look at this podcast and say, hey, you know what? We can't stand Matrix Lord, but you know what? He has a point. And that's my purpose, to awakening their imagination into thinking that maybe this was done this way. What do you think?
I mean, some kids would find Dark Water and Death in Heaven really, kind of just normal Doctor Who. They'd be not harmed by it at all. And then, of course, there's other kids that would just be traumatized by watching it.
If I heard that when I was 5 years old, don't cremate me, I would be having nightmares for friggin' weeks. Okay?
I had a nightmare watching Doctor Who.
I would not be able to
The
handle
Waters of Mars.
Yeah, that was pretty scary, but that was good, but that was pretty scary, yeah. Yeah. And then the Doctor was even evil. He's like Time Lord Victorious. Well,
Yeah.
So,
some
George,
episodes are definitely way too dark.
Closing thoughts, my friend.
On the episode.
Well, on everything I covered about all these theories, what do you think of my crazy finale connections with this?
I definitely agree with almost all of your theories. I I did think the episode was okay. I mean, watching it the third time, I thought it's not that bad if you look at it from far away. It's a
Right.
complete 1 hour episode, but there are a lot of plot holes. There are a lot of dark themes in it that might have been better off to stay out of it. There are a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of bad choices that Stephen Moffat made with the script, but overall it's an okay episode. So like a 6 out of 10. But I
Right.
definitely agree with you anyway.
Right. I say that I loved Peter Capaldi's performance, Jenna Louise Coleman's performance, Missy's performance, but also I do want to say that Moffat had made me hate Clara, and that is because she betrayed the doctor, and
That
all
upset. I think
that
that upset everyone.
made me want to throw up. And then when he pulled that crap that she's the doctor, and they did the whole credit sequence that she's a doctor, I said, you know what? And I gotta say, I was so upset with this episode that I almost stopped watching Doctor Who forever and gave up YouTube forever, because the whole purpose of starting YouTube was about Doctor Who theories. Now, when they threw Santa Claus into this, after we're having zombies and Cybermen and graves and all that stuff, I'm like, are you kidding me? To throw Santa Claus into that? I'm like, what was he
I mean,
thinking?
I thought the Christmas special could be okay. I was like, well, at least there's Santa in it, it can't be that bad. And then I go ahead and watch the teaser for it, and then there's this monster with all these gross
Aliens. Looks like
saliva
aliens.
opening their head. It's gross for
It looks like
anyone under the age
aliens.
of even 6.
Did you ever
would
see
just-
Aliens?
I saw Aliens, yeah.
It looks like aliens.
It does
I'm
look
like,
like Aliens.
what is he doing? Like,
I think it might be the crinoids or the crinoids, or
I don't know. We gotta find out. But
yeah.
I want original stories. I want him to have a purpose. Like, I don't expect Missy to take over millions of dead people with Cybermen to prove a point that, hey, doctor, I want to be your friend. Like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And that's the stupidest plan I've ever seen. That she did all this to get his friendship back and killing people, because obviously you're not going to get his friendship back by killing Osgood and whatever. So that makes no sense to me. That was just like, oh, he needed to fill in a couple of pages, and he just, he was on the road and he was driving and he was probably one hand writing it. I mean, where he was half asleep. So I felt that Darkwater was better than Death in Heaven, and that he screwed it up. And that and it also is that I felt he ran out of ideas. Now he's going to have to prove me wrong with that, and he's going to have to prove to me, as a fan and everybody else, that Series 9 is going to be interesting and better scripts. So.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, George. Welcome to the Real Whovians cast. I hope we can see you on more podcasts. And thanks a lot, buddy. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on. It's a great show. I've watched your videos since I think it was about a year ago maybe.
Oh yeah?
I haven't seen every podcast, but I've seen videos where you give your opinions on certain episodes, and I've seen episodes where you give your theories, and a lot of them actually are true, like are real theories. I mean, basically what I'm trying to say is I think your theories are good.
Thanks, guys. Take care. Bye for now.